If you work with Nexus switches, then you need to see this. Here are 6 Nexus tips you need to know. Welcome to Network Direction, the channel that helps you broaden your networking horizons. Here are 6 interesting Nexus features. Let's get started. A lot of our tricks focus on command line efficiency. An example of this is when chaining CLI commands. What I mean by this is running several commands on a single line. We can do this by using semicolons between each command. We may want to do this if we need 2 or more commands to run very quickly. Maybe you have to shut down a port and bring it back up with as little disruption as possible. Just run shutdown and no shutdown on the same line. There's a good chance that you work with VRFs every day, so you know that you need to specify the VRF in every command that you run. That sounds like way too much work for me. Instead, we can enter into the VRF's routing context. Every command we run here is within that VRF. Simply exit the context by changing back to the default VRF. Pretty handy, right? That's going to save you at least a few minutes every day. Who's up for another coffee? Speaking of time, that brings us to tip number 3. Alright, fun tip number 3. Some commands seem to run forever. Think of the show tech command that we run when we need to lodge a support call. Have you ever actually wondered how long that runs for? We can reuse tip 1 here and chain up a few commands, starting with the show clock to get the initial timestamp, and then we run our long command. We finish with another show clock to get our finishing timestamp. And from that we can see how long the command ran. I bet you've always wanted to know that. We normally don't monitor a switch from the command line. We usually have a separate system for that. But if you have a Nexus 9000, you've got an extra option. We can use the watch command to see changes as they happen. Here, we're looking at the counters on an interface every second. The differences keyword is used to highlight any differences in output since the last time it was run. This is really handy if you need to see errors on an interface in real time. I have found some versions to be a little bit buggy, so just make sure you stick to the most recent release and you should be fine. If you like programming, then you will be comfortable here because NXOS lets us use variables. There's a couple already built in. Here you can see the switch name and timestamp variables. We can use them when we're backing up the switch's configuration. This creates a file that includes the switch name and the time the backup was run. If we want, we can also create our own variables. Imagine you've got an interface connected to a firewall. If you're managing hundreds of interfaces across several switches, you may forget which interface this is. So you could just create a variable called firewall that refers to this interface. Now you can use that variable in your commands rather than the real interface name. This may also be helpful if each switch uses a different interface to connect to the firewalls. Use the same variable on each switch and simplify your life. Variables are good, but we can go a step further. We can create aliases for our well-used commands. Think of the backup we just created. It can be a pain typing this out, so we can replace it with an alias called backup, and this still includes our variables. Now we've created our own command, and it can save us a whole heap of time. That's time for another coffee right there. While doing research for this video, we found tons of tips. So if you like this video and would like to see a part 2, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys.